Your new EV probably didn't come with a charger. And if you just plug the one you buy into a regular wall outlet, a 75 kilowatt-hour battery takes something like 40 hours to fill from empty.
Yeah, 40 hours. That is not overnight. That's, hey, I started charging on Friday and I might be ready to drive to work on Monday.
So stay with us here. There's actually a single number, your overnight hours times 3, that tells you in about 10 seconds flat whether level 1 will even work for you. Most people completely skip that math, buy the wrong setup, and find out the hard way.
For sure, and later in this explainer, we're going to tell you about the install mistake that has people waking up to a dead car and a literally browned outlet. It is way more common than you think, and spoiler alert, it's not the charger's fault.
Right. Okay, story time. My neighbor Dave, really good guy. He gets a 2025 Model Y, 48-mile round-trip commute. The dealer told him, oh, just use a regular outlet, you'll be fine. So he buys a cheap level 1 cord, plugs it into the garage, and feels like a total genius. Only spent $160.
Oh man, I already hate where this is going.
Sunday night, he rolls in from a weekend trip at 18%. Work is at 6:30 Monday morning. That 120-volt cord, it adds maybe 3 to 5 miles an hour. He had 9 hours. That is 27 to 45 miles of charge. His commute is 48. He made it to the office running on absolute fumes, had to sit at a supercharger on his lunch break, and paid about 45 cents a kilowatt hour for the privilege.
To put that into perspective, home power in this country is running about 18.5 cents a kilowatt hour in 2026. He paid more than double to fix a problem that a 240-volt outlet would have entirely prevented.
So let's look at level 1 versus level 2, the time fight.
Look, level 1 versus level 2 is not a brand fight. It is a time fight. Level 1 is 120 volts. It's the exact same outlet as your toaster. A typical portable EVSE, your electric vehicle supply equipment, pulls 12 amps on a 15 amp circuit. That's about 1.4 kilowatts. Some units will do 16 amps on a dedicated 20 amp circuit, hitting around 1.9 kilowatts. The Department of Energy puts level 1 at 3 to 5 miles of range per hour. Tesla's mobile connector listing actually says 3 miles an hour on the NEMA 515 adapter.
Right, and then level 2 is 240 volts. That's the same family as your electric dryer or oven. Residential units run 16 to 48 amps, sometimes 80 if you got a massive truck and a really fat electrical panel. 32 amps is 7.7 kilowatts, 40 amps is 9.6, and 48 amps is 11.5. That translates to 25 to 45 miles an hour for most cars. Tesla says that exact same mobile connector jumps to about 30 miles an hour when you use a NEMA 1450 adapter.
Same cord family, different wall. You gotta realize, the jump is not 20%. It is literally 6 to 10 times faster.
Let's break down the math on a 60 kilowatt hour battery. Call it a 200-mile range. Level 1 at 1.4 kilowatts. Empty to full, you're looking at about 42 hours. Level 2 at 32 amps, down to 7.8 hours. Level 2 at 48 amps, 5.2 hours. And this is that number I teased earlier, overnight hours times 3. If you park for 10 hours, level 1 gives you roughly 30 to 50 miles back. That is your ceiling. Now, the average American drives about 37 miles a day. So level 1 sits right on the ragged edge of maybe, and it completely falls apart the second you add a quick grocery run, winter heat, or just a slightly longer Tuesday.
Now, if you drive under 30 miles a day, you can plug in for 10 to 12 hours reliably, and you own a plug-in hybrid with a tiny battery pack, like a Prius Prime, RAV4 Prime, or Wrangler 4xe, level 1 can actually be enough. Those batteries are only 10 to 20 kilowatt hours. They easily fill overnight on 120 volts. But if you drive a full EV, 40 plus miles a day, live somewhere cold, or you've got 2 EVs sharing one plug, level 1 is basically a nightlight for your car. Seriously, I'm not being cute here. In January, the battery heater alone can eat a huge chunk of that 1.4 kilowatts. You can plug in all night and actually wake up with less range than you started with. Okay, hold on, because that is the exact part dealers always skip over. Cold weather doesn't just cut your driving range out on the road, it can make level 1 net negative sitting right in your driveway. It's just a trickle. It's useful as a travel backup, but it's dangerous as a daily plan.
All right, let's talk hardware and install costs. We need to talk money next. This is exactly where people get talked into a $2,000 install they might not actually need, or they get talked out of a $600 install they absolutely do need.
Hardware first. A decent level 1 portable is going to run you $140 to $300 if your car didn't include one. Tesla's mobile connector is $300 flat, gives you a 20-foot cable, plus the 515 and 1450 adapters right in the back. That gives you level 1 and level 2 in one single brick. Lectron's portable 40-amp level 2 with a 1450 plug sits right around $260 to $280. Moving to wall units, The Emporia 48-amp smart charger is about $400 to $550. The Grizzl-E Classic, which does 40 amps with no Wi-Fi but is built like a lunchbox that survived a war, is $400 to $460. The Tesla wall connector, 48 amps, 24-foot cable, 4-year warranty, comes in at about $475. And the ChargePoint Home Flex, which is adjustable from 16 to 50 amps with a 23-foot cable and hands down the best app in the category, is $550 to $700.
But remember, the installation is the real bill. If your panel is close to the garage and you've got a spare 50 or 60 amp slot, hiring a licensed electrician is often $500 to $1,500. That includes the circuit, the permit, and the inspection. However, if your panel is on the complete other side of the house or you're rocking a 100 amp service from 1978, a panel upgrade is going to be $1,000 to $3,000 on top of that. So a normal level 2 job with no panel drama, expect $1,200 to $2,750 all in.
And here is where it gets really interesting. Level 2 does not actually cost more to run. It's the same electrons on the same meter. At 18.5 cents a kilowatt hour, driving 12,000 miles a year in an efficient EV is roughly $540 to $770, whether you trickle charge it all night or slam it full in 4 hours. You're not buying cheaper power, guys. You are buying time.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Time definitely has a price if you don't buy it up front. Public DC fast charging in 2026 is sitting at about 42 to 50 cents a kilowatt hour. Tesla superchargers are around 42. Electrify America is around 48 for non-members. That means you're paying $13 to $18 per 100 miles at a fast charger versus about $5 at home. If dragging your feet on level 1 forces you onto a supercharger twice a week, that free wall outlet just became the very expensive option.
Absolutely. 2 40-kilowatt-hour public charging sessions a week at 45 cents is about $1,870 a year. That means a $2,000 level 2 home install literally pays for itself in a little over 12 months. All right, beginners, write this next part down. The box on the wall is not actually what charges the battery. Your car has an onboard charger built in that converts AC power to DC. The wall unit is essentially just a smart extension cord packed with safety gear. If your car maxes out at 6.6 kilowatts, like a Nissan Leaf, a Subaru Solterra, or some Toyotas, a 48-amp wall unit will not make it charge any faster. The car itself is the bottleneck.
Exactly. Most 2025 and 2026 battery EVs can take 11 to 11.5 kilowatts. We're talking the Mach-E, the Lightning, Rivian, Ioniq 5, EV6, and a lot of the Teslas. But be careful, some Tesla rear-wheel drive trims cap their AC charging at 32 amps. Meanwhile, the Lucid Air will happily drink 19.2 kilowatts. Always check your specific car's AC acceptance rate before you drop money on a 60-amp circuit it literally can't use.
For the budget shoppers out there, a 32-amp unit running on a 40-amp breaker easily recovers a 40-mile commute in under 2 hours. You really do not need 48 amps to win at EV ownership.
But for the enthusiasts, if you know a second EV is coming, or maybe a Ford Lightning, or you just want the car perfectly full by 9 p.m. after a 300-mile Saturday road trip, go ahead and pull the 60-amp circuit now. Doing the heavy wire twice is exactly how you light $1,500 on fire.
Let's get into plugs, panels, and rebates. The connectors, man, this used to be simple, but it really isn't anymore. Okay, so J1772 is the old universal level 2 plug. Almost every single non-Tesla from the last decade uses it. Then you have NACS, technically SAE J3400, which is Tesla's plug, and it's now showing up on new Fords, GMs, Rivians, and way more 2025 and 2026 models. At home, honestly, either works. A J1772 charger paired with a $50 Tesla adapter charges a Tesla at the exact same kilowatts, and a NACS charger with a NACS to J1772 adapter charges an older Hyundai just fine.
If you're buying one charger in 2026 and you think you might switch car brands down the line, get a unit that ships both ways. The ChargePoint Home Flex and Emporia both offer J1772 and NACS versions. Tesla's universal wall connector goes for about $595 to $650, and it features a NACS plug plus a slick built-in J1772 adapter.
But hey, if you're a Tesla household forever, just grab the regular wall connector at $475. It's got the native plug, hooks into the Tesla app, handles power sharing, and rocks a 4-year warranty. You're done. Renters, apartments, condos, listen up, this part is for yours. You probably may not hardwire anything. So, buy a portable dual-voltage EVSE. Grab the Tesla mobile connector at $300 or a Lectron Level 1 and Level 2 portable. You can use 120 volts in the parking lot you have today, and if the landlord ever gets cool and puts in a 1450 plug, you just flip the adapter and you're suddenly on level 2 without having to buy a second box.
Just whatever you do, do not use a cheap extension cord. I do not care if the bag boldly says heavy duty. EV charging is a continuous, punishing load for 8 straight hours. That is exactly how you get a meltingly warm plug and a really bad story for the fire department.
And here's where it really gets interesting. The charger you pick actually matters way less than the electrical circuit running behind it. This is the half of this explainer that separates a genuinely good buy from a total regret.
Right, because the National Electrical Code strictly treats EV charging as a continuous load, meaning you're only allowed to use 80% of the circuit's rating. A 40-amp charger needs a 50-amp breaker. A 48-amp charger needs a 60-amp breaker. And a 32-amp charger needs a 40-amp breaker. If you size it wrong, the breaker trips constantly or the wire runs dangerously hot.
So plug-in versus hardwired. A NEMA 1450 looks just like a stove plug. Its max continuous load is 40 amps, which gives you 9.6 kilowatts. Super easy to unplug if you happen to move. But hardwired skips the outlet entirely, and that's how you unlock 48 amps and 11.5 kilowatts. It's also how you dodge a massive code headache that I'll get to in a second.
I will die on the hardwired hill if it's a house you own. It is cleaner, it's faster, there's no plug to loosen over time, there's absolutely no outlet to melt.
And I will die on the it depends, and here's the practical recommendation hill. If you own the house, you're staying 5+ years, and your panel can comfortably take a 60-amp breaker, go ahead and hardwire a 48-amp ChargePoint, Emporia, or Tesla wall connector. But if you're renting or you think you might take the unit to your next house, get a plug-in 40-amp unit on a proper industrial-grade 1450 outlet. Notice I said industrial, not the $3 dryer outlet from 1996.
Speaking of 1996, hey, we're getting there. But first, let's talk about the tax credit, because the calendar just punched a whole lot of people right in the wallet. Yeah, Section 30C. It offered 30% off the charger plus installation, capped at $1,000, but only in eligible census tracts, meaning low-income or non-urban areas, and crucially, only if the property was placed in service by June 30, 2026. That federal credit is officially closed for anything you install right now in August 2026. If you flip the breaker before July 1st, awesome. File Form 8911 on your 2026 return, but if you're shopping this week, that $1,000 is gone at the federal level. Luckily, state and utility rebates are still very much a thing. LAWP has been handing out up to $1,000 for standard customers and $1,500 for income-qualified folks. Other utility companies will kick in $200 to $500, plus they'll offer an off-peak EV charging rate. But you've got to call before you buy. Some of them strictly require you to pick a charger from their approved list, or they flat out will not pay you. Time of use rates are the absolute sleeper win here. Off-peak power can land around 11 cents a kilowatt hour. That's exactly why buying a smart charger matters. With a ChargePoint, an Emporia, a Tesla, or a Wallbox Pulsar Plus, you just set a schedule for 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. If you buy a dumb charger like the Grizzl-E, it starts ripping power the exact second you plug it in, which might be 5:30 p.m. right during absolute peak pricing. Seriously, if you have nasty peak energy rates, do not buy the brick with no Wi-Fi unless you actively enjoy lighting your money on fire. Fair, but I will give the Grizzl-E this much. If you live in Minnesota and you park outside in the snow, that NEMA 4 box will absolutely outlive your mortgage. There's no app to randomly brick itself, there's no firmware to fail, you just slap a mechanical timer on your panel if you really need off-peak charging.
What if you have a 2E house? You do not automatically need to install 2 massive 48-amp circuits. Tesla wall connectors power shared natively. Emporia and Wallbox do smart load management. You just run one 60-amp circuit for the 2 cars, and they intelligently split whatever power is left. That is exactly how you skip dropping $4,000 on a $4,000 panel upgrade.
Alternatively, you could just run one level 2 charger and keep a level 1 portable cord as an overflow. The primary commuter gets the fast plug and the grocery getter just sits on 120 volts overnight. That is a rare Dean solution I will actually endorse.
Everyone write that down immediately. He just endorsed a cheap idea.
Don't get used to it.
Moving on to common installation mistakes. This is basically what we wish we knew earlier. Both of the open loops we teased at the beginning land right here.
Mistake number 1. The browned outlet. So many people see a dryer plug sitting in the garage and immediately think they just found free level 2 charging. The problem is, a cheap residential-grade NEMA 1450 was built for a clothes dryer that cycles on and off. An EV demands 32 to 40 amps without a single break for 6 hours straight. Those cheap outlets loosen up, heat up, and physically turn brown from the heat. You have to use a commercial-grade Hubbell or Bryant 1450, torque the wires strictly to spec, and physically feel the plug after your first few sessions. Or just skip the outlet entirely and hardwire it.
Mistake 2. Trying to share the dryer circuit. You cannot run the dryer and the car at the same time on a single 30-amp dryer circuit. Also, those old NEMA 1030 dryer plugs are ungrounded. Do not try to adapt your way around a missing ground wire.
Mistake 3. Stacked GFCIs. Modern EVSEs already have ground fault protection built in. But the 2020 and newer electrical code wants a GFCI, a ground fault circuit interrupter breaker on any receptacle circuit. If you have 2 GFCIs on one circuit, they will constantly nuisance trip at 2 a.m. You'll wake up to a completely silent charger and only 40 miles of range. Hardwiring usually lets the electrician use a standard breaker because the code recognizes the protection is already in the unit. That is the annoying install mistake I teased earlier. It's not dramatic, it just completely ruins your morning, over and over, until you pay someone to come back and fix it.
Mistake 4. Buying amps your car literally can't swallow. Putting a 48 amp charger on a Nissan Leaf just gives you a 6.6 kilowatt charger with a much bigger price tag. Spend 30 seconds checking your manual, guys.
Mistake 5. Buying no-name Amazon bricks that have 0 UL or ETL safety marks. If that cheap box doesn't explicitly say UL 2594 on it, do not push 240 volts through it overnight while it sits 10 feet from your water heater.
Mistake 6. Skipping the permit just to save $150. Your insurance company can get extremely weird if an unpermitted 60 amp circuit starts a garage fire. Get the permit, get the inspection.
Mistake 7. Pitting the car to 100% charge every single night just because you have range anxiety. Most EVs are way happier sitting at 70 to 80%. Having level 2 at home makes charging to 100% a 1-hour pre-trip thing, not a daily lifestyle requirement.
Mistake 8. Assuming the new car actually came with a cord. Tesla stopped including the mobile connector years ago. A huge chunk of 2024 and newer Fords, GMs, and Hyundais are shipping entirely without one. You need to budget $300 for a travel cord, even if you decide to hardwire the garage unit. And the last one. Outdoor install but using an indoor rated box. Look for a NEMA 4 or 4X rating, or at the very least a 3R. The ChargePoint Home Flex is 3R. The Grizzl-E and Emporia Pro are NEMA 4. If rain can physically hit it, do not cheap out on the enclosure.
All right, let's wrap this up with who should buy what. I'm gonna go first, mostly because I know you're about to recommend everyone buy a spaceship.
Hey, I contain myself. Barely.
Look, if you drive under 30 miles a day, you have a plug-in hybrid, or you rent your place, start with a portable dual-voltage unit. Grab the Tesla mobile connector at $300 or Lectron if your car takes J1772. Just use level 1 tonight. You can always add a 1450 outlet later if the math stops working for you. Do not let a pushy salesperson guilt you into a $2,500 install for a 25-mile daily commute. On the flip side, if you have a full battery EV, you drive more than 40 miles a day, you own the house, and you want that car completely ready every single morning no matter what you did over the weekend, get level 2, hardwired. Push for 48 amps if your panel can handle a 60 amp breaker. I'd say get the ChargePoint Home Flex for the killer app and the adjustable amps. Grab the Tesla wall connector if you drive a Tesla. Go with Emporia for 48 amps and deep energy monitoring without spending ChargePoint money. And get the Grizzl-E if you park outside in a place that literally invents new kinds of winter every year.
Still on the fence? Here is the 10-second test one last time. Hours you can leave it plugged in times 3. If that number is bigger than your worst driving weekday plus a 20-mile safety buffer, level 1 can totally work. But if it isn't, you need to stop negotiating with yourself and just run the 240-volt circuit.
My final verdict. Level 1 is a spare tire. Level 2 is the actual car. You buy the spare so you're never stranded, but you buy level 2 so you never actually have to use the spare. If you have a garage and a real daily commute, buy a UL-listed 40 to 48 amp level 2 charger and hire a licensed electrician. Do not put yourself through another year of 20-volt cope. And my verdict, don't spend $3,000 to solve a simple 30-mile problem. But also, don't spend $160 and sacrifice a Sunday night just to lose your Monday morning. If your daily miles beat that overnight times 3 number even once a week, go level 2. If they absolutely never do, keep the $300 portable cord and put all that saved money toward fresh tires. So, do your daily miles pass the times 3 test? Or are you calling an electrician to upgrade your panel? Let us know.